ladies and gentlemen, it is Michael again, and because we all know I am a fan of dispelling myths, today I want to talk about the Ebola virus because my Facebook feed is inundated with people who I know who seem to be really freaked out about Ebola spreading in North America, and it is driving me up the freaking wall. So today I'm going to share with you 10 reasons why Ebola is not really a concern in North America. Reason number 1, Ebola is a viral infection, and infection control is one of the core functions of North American and Western hospitals. People are regularly quarantined for infections in North American hospitals, and especially knowing that Ebola is around and now in North America, that's gonna happen a lot. As soon as somebody has symptoms that maybe look like Ebola, into the quarantine they go. Reason number 2 is that it's actually quite hard to spread. People seem to think that if you get breathed on by someone who has Ebola, then you're suddenly going to get it, and that's super not going to happen. Ebola is only spread through bodily fluids, and only when you're symptomatic. You can't get on a plane, healthy, sneeze on someone, give them Ebola, get off the plane, and then suddenly get sick. It doesn't work that way. Unless you're ill, you have a fever, you have chills, you're sneezing, you're coughing, you're not contagious. And even if you were contagious, it would take more than breathing on someone to give them Ebola. Reason number 3 that it's spreading in Africa and isn't going to spread here is that the body fluids that are most likely to spread the contagion are fecal matter and blood. Who comes into contact with fecal matter and blood? Caregivers, whether they're healthcare workers who don't have all the appropriate equipment to be safe, or family members who are caring for a sick person. Nobody else is coming into contact with your blood and fecal matter. Reason number 4, technically a sneeze or a cough of somebody who has symptoms of the illness is enough to spread the infection. However, it would have to be spread on broken skin or mucous membranes. So the sneeze would have to get into your eyes, your nose, or your mouth, or they would have to sneeze on a cut somewhere on your body. The outbreak has been so fast and so dangerous in Africa because a lot of Western African healthcare centers lack things that North American healthcare centers have a lot of. Things like proper equipment, rubber gloves, face masks, hazmat suits in some cases, as well as proper training, infection control, lack of running water, and most importantly, a lack of familiarity with Ebola and how it works. Ebola has never been in this part of the world before, and so when people started getting it, nobody was like, oh look, Ebola. They were just like, you have a fever, you're sick, which is not that uncommon. Reason number 6. I read a comment recently on an article about Ebola where somebody said, how is it that it could only be spread by bodily fluids, but then somebody died and everybody at the funeral got Ebola? How is that even possible? This makes no sense. Okay, funerals in Liberia are a lot different than funerals in North America. In a funeral in Liberia, it's very common for everybody in the family to touch or kiss the corpse, and very, very common to eat a meal in the presence of the corpse. The body is most contagious once it started to decompose, so it's not so strange for a whole bunch of people at a funeral who kiss the corpse of somebody who died from Ebola to get Ebola. Reason number 7. In Liberia and other parts of West Africa, there was a lot of mistrust. It is a post-conflict climate, and it's gotten to the point where some Red Cross workers have actually been killed for trying to safely bury corpses of people who've died from Ebola. There's assault, there's vandalism, there's a lot of mistrust about whether or not Ebola actually exists, whether or not it's spreading, who's bringing it. It's a very different climate than we have here in North America, where everybody's just terrified of Ebola. Reason number 8. When somebody dies, we put their body in a body bag and zip it up. That body bag can contain a viral infection. That's one of the reasons why it exists. Reason number 9. In Liberia and other parts of Western Africa, it's fairly common for people to refuse to take sick family members into hospitals because they feel that when you take a family member into a hospital, they don't come out again. Reason number 10 why it's not going to be spreading all over North America. There are going to be cases of it here. There has been, there will be more, but there's not going to be a ton of them because most people in Western Africa who are getting Ebola are living in the rural areas. They're not exactly the people who are likely to jump on a plane and come to North America. And even if they were, there's very few direct flights from Western Africa to North America, so their symptoms would most likely be caught beforehand. And if you get a fever right now and you go into a Western hospital because people are aware of what's happening, one of the first questions they ask you is, have you been traveling recently and where? And if you say anywhere near Africa, you're quarantined and everybody else is fine. In North America, we have every possible caution in place to save us from a pandemic. And in that we are incredibly lucky, and I in no way mean to detract from all of the deaths in Africa, from all of the families who've lost their loved ones. It's terrible, but can we focus on the fact that it's terrible there and stop freaking out because a couple of news companies are fear-mongering in order to get more people to watch their news after ratings? So if everybody could just chill, that would be awesome. Sources linked in the description. Have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And also a relaxing one, because you're probably not going to get Ebola. Bye!